Hey y'all, so this is going to be the next video in my specialty perm series. So let's say a client like this walks in, right? She walks in and she has got a ton of hair. Not only is her hair super long, but she could practically be Chewbacca's sister because there's so much of it. It's thick, it's coarse, it's long, and you know that this hair type right here is going to be resistant. So what you're going to do with this hair type is you're going to need to use a proper wrap to ensure that all the hair is saturated, and you want to make sure that you choose an appropriate perm. So the perm I'm going to be using, it's actually really the same perm. It is going to be Quantum 5 Mega Firm, and this is the Ultra Firm Perm. It's an advanced exothermic perm for resistant, normal, or tinted hair. And the other one, which is really the same one, it's just that Sally Beauty Supply was out of this one, is Quantum Ultra Firm Exothermic Perm for normal, resistant, or tinted hair. And it's this one right here. It's like this metallic rose gold box. And all this is an exothermic perm, so it is a strong perm. It's a cold wave. They add peroxide. The peroxide reacts and it creates a chemical reaction that generates heat. This really allows that cuticle to soften and swell and open up, and it allows the perm to go in there and break those bonds. You do not put this under a dryer. This is not safe for bleached hair. If you have tinted hair, be very careful. Check after I would say even after 3 minutes. 3 minutes, and then check every 3 minutes after that until you see the S shape. Because this is an alkaline perm, you will notice a very pronounced S shape compared to the previous perm that was an acid wave. The only difference between Quantum 5, because this is just the exact same thing, is that they add a treatment in there, and the treatment is a Preneutralizer treatment. It's just a protein treatment. It helps to ensure the integrity of the hair. If you don't have that, no big deal. You can use a pre-wrap or a protein treatment. So for this perm right here, I'm gonna get fancy and do, it'll be larger rods at the scalp, and then at the ends it'll be a tighter rod. And again, if y'all saw my last video, I said you could use sizes that are crazy, like 2 or 3 sizes between each rod. So I'm gonna be doing that by using a mixture of green rods, which are 1 inch, and the peach rods. By doing this, I'm gonna get a lot of dimension, and I'm gonna get a really cool look. It's gonna be a little bit more snug at the scalp, and then tighter on the ends. And that will create like a natural, almost like a beach wavy look. So I'm gonna go clarify shampoo this mannequin. I prefer to do this on clean, damp hair. You could lotion wrap if you wanted to, if the hair was really that thick. But seeing as it's a mannequin, it'll probably be fine with an exothermic perm. Okay, so when you do the perm, you have 2 options. You can do the basic, 9-panel sectioning for the perm, or you can just free wrap it. Now I do usually just section to make it easier, especially with long hair. Versus medium hair, I tend to just free do it. And the rule of thumb is you want to take sections that are no bigger than the diameter of the rod. And when you're pulling sections up to wrap, you want to make sure that they're the diameter of the bigger rod. So you're not going to do it to the peach rod, you're going to be doing it to the green rod. And this will mean that you're taking a lot of hair, it might seem like, but it actually evens out. So I'm gonna get all sectioned. I'm gonna start, and I'm gonna say right over here, because this mannequin has a bit of a part, so I'm gonna go with the parting of her hair. So it'll be a little bit more of a custom wrap to the client. So I'm gonna take the rod like so, and that's about yay big. So I'm gonna take this, firm tension, pull the hair through, and the rest of the hair I'm going to clip away. And again over here. So perming, the art of perming is a mix of art and science. It's the art in that you have a lot of control on what texture you're going to get, how you're going to wrap it, what wrapping method you're going to use, what tools you're going to use. And the science behind it comes into the condition of the hair, the type of perm you're going to use, and the maintenance of it. So again, there are situations where the only option is to tell a client no and explain why. If this client walked in here and she had, like her hair is 18 inches long, she had 18-inch long hair that was bleached and it was fried, and it was about a grade 5 porosity, which means that the hair is in pretty bad condition and it's, not holding its own weight, it's stretching. If I put a perm on her, if I do this perm, it will turn it into mush. It'd be like Nair. If I use a quote-unquote damage-free perm, which is a bit of a lie, her hair will still turn into mush. Might not be mush like this, but it will still be mush, and she will be very upset. So again, this is all about judgment, and this comes with time and experience. So up here, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to try to section out how big the rod is, so about right here. And sectioning makes it easy because on long hair it might tangle or it might get in the way of a lot of things. So I'm going to go right over here and same thing. Go down and pull apart. And I'm going to get a flip. And now we can get ready to wrap. I'm gonna do one section down here and one down here, so it'll be a little bit different than the traditional pulling it down, because I'm going with the client's parting. And this mannequin brand, I think it's some kind of Asian one, is actually really well done. They put the hair in it correctly. They didn't make it go crazy everywhere. And before someone asks with the perms, again, the only difference between Quantum 5 Mega Firm, or what they call Ultra Firm, is that it just contains that little pre-wrap, which is a protein treatment. You can make any perm work like that. Pretty much a lot of these Quantum Mega Firms, they match up to the Quantum regular ones. And it just says that it's superior in 5 ways. It's all marketing. And that's right there in the box. It says remarkable shine, incredible condition, exceptional color retention, aroma fresh odor block, leaves hair with a fresh, clean scent both during and after perming. That is false. And it says enhanced curl definition. Those are all things that all perms will do if you correctly do the perm. So let's just go back over the 5 steps of perm, not 5 steps, the 4 steps of perming. Step 1, where are we? We have virgin hair. We know she is coarse, she is resistant. She has long hair, so these are all those important characteristics. Her hair history, what does it look like, what does it feel like, the density. So that's where we are. Step 2, where do we want to go? She wants a nice specialty wrap for long hair. She saw my videos. And she wants the curl to be firmer because she doesn't want it to be, too loose. So that tells me I'm going to use, which is step 3, the solution. What solution are we using? We're going to be using an ultra firm perm, and that will be an exothermic perm, because for longer hair, especially hair that is heavier, it will really open that cuticle and it will let it last a lot longer. Now your other options, you could do a thiophore perm. It produces a little bit more of a more natural and a more medium curl. It doesn't swell the cuticle like other perms. In this case, I think it needs some swelling. The other option we can use would be a endothermic perm or a dryer activated perm, because that produces a firm but medium curl. It's medium, but the texture is stronger than a regular acid perm. So again, we have options, but I'm using judgment to do this one. And processing time, well, her hair is resistant. Chances are we're going to need the full 20 minutes, like the perm says. Okay, so again, remember when you wrap, you're going to hold the hair at 90 degrees from where it grows. And I'm going to start off with the smaller rod first, which is the peach rod. I'm going to start wrapping down towards the scalp. I'm going to get about halfway there, and I'm going to fasten the rod right across the rod. I'm going to take an end paper. See, I can zoom in a little bit on this. I'm going to put the end paper underneath. And I'm going to start wrapping. And I'm going to tilt this other rod, and it's going to be like a little crank. It's going to help me wrap and maintain tension down to the scalp. And you're going to seal the rod, like so. Okay, so now I'm going to wrap this section as well. Here's another angle. I'm using a double flat wrap on the ends. That allows for the most amount of swelling. So when the hair is swelling when it is being permed, it does not buckle, and it has room to do so. You would not want to do a bookend because it would be too tight and the ends would converge. And you're keeping the hair wet throughout. Again, if you have an assistant, this is a great chance for your assistant to help you. If you don't, just be mindful of saturation throughout the whole process. Start the wrap and use judgment when you get about halfway there. Get a paper, put the paper underneath, get the bigger rod goes underneath, and start rolling. Twist the smaller rod and use it as a lever to wind right down to the scalp. Snap the rods into place. And it should look something like this. And then you're going to use a pick to take the tension off with the band. In some ways, it kind of makes like a figure 8 pattern. Like if you've ever curled hair, the principles you're going to find are the same to curling medium to long length hair. With long length hair, you'll do the figure 8 curl with a thermal iron. And in this case, the principles are the same. Okay, so this is what the finished wrap is going to look like. You know, I have it all stabilized with the picks. So it's going to look like this. She's going to look like a pin cushion, and she's going to notice that this feels a little heavy. That is totally normal with the rod size. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply the perm at the sink only because I am running a little low on resources. But if y'all want to help out, please consider hitting that subscribe button down below. And also, if y'all have the funds for it, consider giving me a tip, and all the funds go to purchasing more mannequins, more products, so I can do these educational videos. So I'm going to be using 2 perms for this because she does have a lot of hair. I'd rather, you know, be overstocked than understocked. And you get about, I believe it's close to like 2 ounces, 2 to 3 ounces per perm. You're going to do 3 swipes across each rod. And what you're going to do with this perm is you have to mix your Thermalizer with your waving lotion. It's going to get hot, and then you're going to apply it. You're always going to put cotton around the client's hairline and face. You can do a little Vaseline to protect the skin. Apply the perm, change out the cotton, and process. Now this perm processes for about 20 minutes. And you're going to check for that classical S pattern. Okay, so in order to process this, I'm going to take the Thermalizer, and it has a nice puncture top, and I'm going to squirt that right into the perm. And it is going to get nice and hot. Explain to the client that this will feel very warm. Give it a nice twirl. And I'm going to start from the back because that's where the hair is more resistant. And I'm going to apply starting 1, 2, and 3 swipes across each rod. Saturation is so key with this kind of perm. Alright, I'm going to go mix the next perm. And I'm going to process this for 20 minutes. Okay, and this smells pretty bad as usual. You will find that the alkaline wave smells really bad and it lingers for hours. This one is pretty much the same, except it's probably a little bit more worse because it gets warm. That gets trapped to the client's head heat. So when you lift the cap, stand back a little bit because it like stinks really bad. It smells like more ammonia, like as opposed to like the sulfury smell of the other perms. So let's do a curl check. So in order to do a curl check, you're going to take the picks out. You're going to take one rod and you're gently going to unwind 2 revolutions and you're going to keep it up to C for the S-shaped pattern. And it looks like we are almost ready. Let me check another one. There we go. See, that has an S shape? We are ready to rinse. Sometimes the larger rods, it's going to be more of like a looser S wave as opposed to like a more pronounced one. Okay, so now it's time to do the Preneutralizer treatment. And this is, it smells kind of weird. It's a yellow-green color, and it's a protein treatment that's going to help just to kind of add some nutrients back into the hair. Is it a gimmick? Not necessarily. It is, but it isn't. Look, protein is good for the hair, but if you don't properly prep the hair with it, it will do nothing good. So I'm going to apply this 1 swipe across each rod, and it stays on for 5 minutes. And this just kind of helps to, you know, re-nourish the hair. It definitely does a lot more than the whole bond protectors, because there's a perm that uses that big O one. Not really a fan of that one because, you know, when you're perming, it's still a chemical. Doesn't matter what you add to it. Nothing will save an overprocessed perm. Okay. And I'm going to leave that for 5 minutes, and then I'm going to neutralize. Okay, so now it's time for the neutralizer, and again, 3 swipes across each rod. And save a little bit for when you take the rods out and you run it through the hair. This will help to lock the waves into place. And again, you would do this with cotton around the client's face, but this is just the technique. Alright, and I already put a previous bottle of Neutralizer over that. I just did part of the second, and we're going to process for 5 minutes, and I'll come back to take the rods out. Okay, so you're going to start now with the smaller rod, and you're going to gently take the perm rods out. You're going to rinse the hair for 5 minutes, and then you're going to rinse the end papers out too, and give the rods a quick rinse and the picks. Throw out obviously the end papers, and you keep the rods and the picks for your next use. And some people say, you know, when you take out perm rods that you're supposed to leave the neutralizer on for 5 minutes with the rods on, which you are supposed to do. And then some say, you know, 5 minutes off. I find usually 1 minute does just as good. And then you're going to take the hair, and I do this because it's a lot longer hair, and you're going to squirt some neutralizer on and just kind of scrunch it. And you could just gently massage the scalp. That would feel really nice to a client because this is a pretty torturous procedure. And this produces more of a loose curl to a wave. It is going to be a very subtle. It almost looks like she had her hair just gently diffused. It's not going to be like a traditional, you know, 80s perm or a glamorous one. You could do this with very long hair like this. And actually, the secret to doing that is to use drastically different sizes, but to use at least 3 rods on very long hair. Doing that allows for the best saturation, and you get a crazy cool result. And when you rinse the neutralizer out, know that you're going to rinse it for the full 5 minutes. This is not, you know, as like bad as perm solution, but still, you can over neutralize hair, and that can, you know, make the hair frizz. It makes the perm not last as long. So you really want to make sure that you're hitting everything properly when doing a perm. It's one of those things where everything counts. Even though, you know, I have students and they complain like, why do I have to do this? Does it really count? And I'm like, yes, it does. All right. We can massage the hair at this time, scrunch the neutralizer in, and wait for about a minute. We're gonna rinse for 5 minutes and then come back with this whole hair all styled. Hey y'all, so this is the finished result after doing the piggyback perm using a large rod on top and a smaller rod on the mid shaft and ends. And this looks absolutely fantastic. This perm looks like she had her hair curled with a curling iron. I mean, look at how nice that is. And I framed the perm placement around her face, so I went with the parting of her hair as not to go against it. And you get that nice curl in the end and mid shaft, and you get the nice body boost up top at the root. And she looks absolutely fantastic. So that is the finished result. I just put a little curl cream in it and I air dried it. Now there are other ways of styling this. I might decide to do another video on that. You know, you can put a little mousse in there and you can just do some twists, but it gives the client a lot more body. It gives them a nice natural look. This looks like she just, you know, styled her hair with a curling wand, a loose waving wand. And you know, it's a wearable look by anyone. It's more modern. It is not your mama's perm. So this is what you get with a big rod on top and a small rod on bottom. It helps to ensure even saturation of the perm and you still get the great quality. So also y'all, if you give this video a like, please share this video and please subscribe, because I noticed that about 80% of my viewers who like my videos are not subscribed and I want to change that.